As a kid, I used to believe that being a Good Samaritan was simply a title that was given to good people. Then I realized that Samaritans were actually people from Samaria, which technically means to be a Good Samaritan, you have to be a good person from Samaria. We've used the tag to be a Good Samaritan to tell ourselves to be more caring about others. But here is the problem. It is so much easier to help someone when it is convenient. Let's think about that for a second. You see, it is a lot easier for me to give you a ride if your destination is on the way to where I am headed. If where you're going is on the opposite direction of where I am trying to go, then it becomes a problem. Why? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because now I have to make a sacrifice in order to help you. There is an interesting story Jesus tells in Luke 10:25-37. Jesus tells the story why he's been asked by a Jewish religious lawyer, "What can I do to inherit eternal life?" Instead of Jesus answering the question, he actually asked the lawyer, "When you read the law, what did it tell you?" The lawyer says in verse 27, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." But the lawyer, in an attempt to justify himself, asked Jesus, "Well, who is my neighbor?" So Jesus Christ goes ahead to explain who our neighbor is by telling the story of the Samaritan. Now, this story is about a man who is going from Jerusalem to Jericho. On the way, he is robbed, he is beaten, and is left for dead. Now, we see a priest walk by this road, sees this dying man. Instead of helping, he ignores him, walks to the other side of the road, and just keeps walking. Then comes a Levite, who is also a religious leader. He sees the dying man. Instead of helping him, he walks to the other side of the road and just keeps walking. The third person that comes down this road is a man from Samaria, who sees this dying man, and instantly he has compassion for him. Here's an interesting part of that story. Culturally, at that time, Samaritans and the Jews were not friends. So here you have a man who just came from Jerusalem, and you have a Samaritan who is not supposed to be a friend of this man, and he's the only one who actually cares enough to stop and check up on him. So here's a story about a man helping someone he does not know, someone he's supposed to hate, while those that preach about love and caring really show they do not care. When you read verse 34 and 35, something interesting happens. This Samaritan not only took care of this man, bandaged his wounds, and took him to an inn. You see, but the very next day he had to travel. Instead of him saying, "You see, I have done enough. I saw this man on the roadside, I took him up, bandaged his wounds, took him to an inn, so I think I have done enough." He pays the innkeeper to take care of this man he does not even know. Then he tells this innkeeper, he says, "You see, if you spend more money than I have given you to take care of this man, on my way back, I will reimburse you for whatever you spent for this man's care." Wow! Just think about that for a second. Here is a man he does not know, a man who's a stranger. He takes this man in, takes care of his wounds. Now he has to continue his journey. Instead of leaving the man just like that, he pays the innkeeper to continue taking care of the man. Then tells the innkeeper, "If you spend more money than I have given you, on my way back I will reimburse you for whatever you spend." So in other words, do whatever you have to do to take care of this man. I will pay for it. And he did all this without expecting anyone to thank him or to give him any recognition. In verse 36, Jesus asked the question, which of these three men were neighbors to this dying man? Caring for only those you know does not show you love your neighbor. Talking about loving and caring is not the same thing as actually loving and caring. In conclusion, Jesus says in Matthew 25:35-45, "For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me." Then the righteous will answer him saying, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and gave you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you?" Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, Assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to the one of the least of my brethren, you did it to me. Then he will also say to those on the left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry and you gave me no food. I was thirsty and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger and you did not take me in. Naked and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison and you did not visit me. Then they will also answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or sick or in prison and did not minister to you? Then he will answer them, saying, Assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did not do it to one of the least of this, you did not do it to me. And this will go away into the everlasting punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. Now, no matter how you choose to take this message, there is one simple, undisputable fact. Genuinely caring and loving other people is kind of a big deal to God.